Random House Audiobooks presents The Mummy, or Ramses the Damned, by Anne Rice. Read for you by Michael York.
The Mummy, or Ramses the Damned. The camera flashes blinded him for a moment. If only he could get the photographers away. They had been at his side for months now, ever since the first artifacts had been found in these barren hills south of Cairo. After all these years, Lawrence Stratford was on to a major find. The twilight seemed to darken suddenly. He could see the letters, but he couldn't make them out. "Shamir!" he cried. "I need light!" "Yes, Lawrence." At once the torch exploded behind him, and in a flood of yellow illumination, the slab of stone was wonderfully visible. Hieroglyphs, deeply etched and beautifully gilded, and in Italian marble. He had never seen such a sight. "Ramses the Damned is my name. Once Ramses the Great of Upper and Lower Egypt. In the year of the death of the great Queen Cleopatra, as Egypt becomes a Roman province, I commit myself to eternal darkness. Beware all those who would let the rays of the sun pass through this door."
"It makes no sense," Samir whispered. "Ramses the Great ruled 1,000 years before Cleopatra."
"Yet these are 19th dynasty hieroglyphs without question," Lawrence countered. "And look, the inscriptions repeated, in Latin and Greek."
"The body of Ramses the Great is in the Cairo Museum," Samir said impatiently.
"No," Lawrence answered. He was aware of a chill moving slowly up his neck. "There's a body in the Cairo Museum, but it's not Ramses. Look at the cartouches, the seal. There was no one in the time of Cleopatra who could even write the ancient hieroglyphs, and these are perfect." Oh, if only Julie were here, Lawrence thought. His daughter, Julie. She would understand this moment as no one else could. "Get the diggers back to work!" Lawrence shouted. "I'm going into that tomb tonight." He hurried down the uneven path, looking beyond the flickering torches at the sombre beauty of the lighted tents under the violet evening sky. Only one thing distracted him before he reached the safety of his camp chair and desk. A glimpse of his nephew, Henry, watching idly from a short distance away. Undoubtedly the belly dancer was with him, the woman, Malenka, from Cairo, who gave her British gentleman all the money she made. In a life well lived, Lawrence counted Henry as his only true disappointment. The nephew who cared for no one and nothing but gaming tables and the bottle. Sharp pain again as he missed Julie, his beloved daughter. Henry had come to Egypt for money. Henry had company papers for Lawrence to sign, and Henry's father, Randolph, had sent him on this mission, desperate as always to cover his son's debts. Lawrence had given the family business to Randolph, along with all its immense pressures and responsibilities, so that he, Lawrence, could spend his remaining years digging among the Egyptian ruins he so loved. Entering the tent, and eagerly pulling his chair up to the desk, Lawrence took out a leather-bound diary. He wrote what he remembered of the door's inscription and the questions it posed. What on earth could all this mean? midnight. The marble door of the tomb had been carefully removed, photographed, and placed on trestles in his tent, and now they were ready to blast their way in. Flashes went off, and then the blast caught them all off guard. He felt it in the pit of his stomach. No time for that. He thrust the torch through the gaping hole. The blood rushed to his face as the press of reporters raised the dust in the passage. "Keep back!" he shouted. And there, a long table laden with alabaster jars and boxes, heaps of rolled papyri. Dear God, all this alone confirmed a momentous discovery. "This is no tomb," he whispered. There was a writing table, looking for all the world as if the scholar had only just left it. An open papyrus lay there, with sharpened pens, an ink bottle, and a goblet. But the bust, the marble bust, it was unmistakably Greco-Roman. A woman with her tight, wavy hair drawn back beneath a metal band, and the name cut into the base, Cleopatra. He heard Samir speak. "Look, Lawrence, the mummy case." "Get those workers in here to lift this lid at once," Lawrence answered. "Julie," he whispered to himself, "oh, if only you could see." The Embassy Ball. Same old faces, same old orchestra, same old sweet yet droning waltz. The lights were a glare to Elliot Savarel. The champagne left a sour taste in his mouth. But they wanted him here. Wouldn't be the same without Elliot Savarel, the Earl of Rutherford. The 17th Earl of Rutherford was the genuine article. The titles in his family went back to Henry VIII. He loved some of these people. He loved his old friend, Randolph Stratford, just as he loved Randolph's brother, Lawrence. He loved Julie Stratford, and he loved watching her dance with his son. Elliot was here on account of his son. Julie wasn't really going to marry Alex anytime soon, but it was the hope on the horizon that Alex might acquire the money he needed to maintain estates he would inherit, the wealth that was supposed to go along with an old title and seldom did anymore. The sad part was that Alex loved Julie. The money meant nothing to either of them, really. It was the older generation that did the scheming, as they have always done. Randolph was assuring Elliot that Julie needed only a little prodding. If only Lawrence would say the word, his daughter would give in. At Oxford, years ago, Elliot and Lawrence had been lovers. They had spent a winter together in a houseboat on the Nile. Inevitably, the world had separated them, but their friendship had never faltered. "Henry took some papers with him," Randolph was saying. "If it goes as I hope, I'll pay you everything I owe you, and the marriage will take place within 6 months. I give you my word." Elliot smiled. "Randolph, the marriage may or may not happen. It may or may not solve things for both of us." He was watching the dancers again, his good and gentle son whispering passionately to Julie. Some women must smile to be beautiful. Some women must weep. But with Julie, the real radiance shone only when she was serious. Fired with determination, she was a vision. And Alex, for all his proffered passion, seemed no more than a partner for her, one of 1,000 elegant young men who might have guided her across the marble floor. "If you want to live in Egypt and dig for mummies with your father, well, then we'll go to Egypt," Alex was saying breathlessly. "We'll go straight there after the wedding." "I know you mean it with all your heart, Alex, but I'm just not ready. The simple truth is, I don't want to be married, not yet." Though she loved him, it was not enough. Lawrence and Samir sat together in their camp chairs at the ancient writing table, with the papyri spread out before them. Lawrence hastily scribbled his translations in his leather-bound book. Ramses the Immortal. The very idea inflamed Lawrence. "But it must be a hoax," Samir said. "Ramses the Great guarding the royal families of Egypt for 1,000 years? The lover of Cleopatra? A hoax, Lawrence." "No, my friend. She wrote this letter from Rome when Caesar was assassinated. She told Ramses she was coming home to him and to Egypt. Samir, if you can believe in the curse, why can't you believe in an immortal man?" "Lawrence, I have seen the workings of many a curse. But an immortal man who lived in Athens under Pericles and Rome under..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?